It's the Off-Grid Prep Family Podcast.
Hey everybody.
Good evening.
It's episode 43 of the Off-Grid Prep Family Podcast.
We've been busy.
It's been a crazy month.
Yeah, we had a hurricane.
We did. And it was September and we had visitors. So we're back.
Yeah.
We're doing today Hurricane Fiona, our experience, lessons learned, kind of a recap.
It's our second natural disaster.
Yeah, like major.
No, it's not our second natural disaster. it's our second record-breaking natural disaster that we've been involved in.
Yeah, everyone says it's a once-in-a-lifetime storm.
Yeah, that was and the other one was our once-in-a-lifetime flood.
Yeah, lucky us.
Yeah, I guess.
We've had so many lifetimes.
Our forest got hit pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost a lot of trees.
Of big old trees. Just couldn't believe them.
I don't think it's unreasonable to say we lost thousands of trees. Mm-hmm. Possibly tens of thousands of trees if you count the slightly smaller trees.
And hundreds of 40-year-old pines, which is big for our area.
Yeah.
Or 50-year-old pine. Anyway.
Yeah. So what did we learn? What happened? How crazy was it?
It was nuts.
It was really nuts. It sounded like a tornado.
It was almost 2 weeks ago?
It was a week and a half ago. Yeah.
And the people on the island here are just starting to get power back on.
Yeah. The people near us just got power back, I think, yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to see the wreckage that can happen just from winds and, some tidal surge and... Yeah. But just a mess. It's just a mess.
Over in Newfoundland...
Yeah.
Whole villages were washed into the sea.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
There's one lesson learned. If you're going to choose to not evacuate...
Yeah.
Be ready to handle yourself.
That's true.
Don't call 911.
Yeah.
I get not evacuating.
When you told me that, you said that people were being a burden. I didn't quite understand that they had adamantly refused to be evacuated when they were told to. And then when the storm hit the fan, they whined like children. And
called for help, and then people had to come grab their bodies out of the ocean.
Yeah, that's a bit... So wasting resources because they're
either handle your stuff, or
be part of the society. Those are the options. You can't do both.
Yeah.
So we learned a few really interesting things. 2 days before the storm, I filled up on fuel. Yeah,
we always keep a stash.
We do.
But we made sure everything was topped up and labeled and strapped so that it couldn't fly around, because we keep our fuel outside on shelves.
Yeah.
So it was all strapped down. That's propane and gas. Yeah, gas for our generator. Cars.
Propane for the little bit of propane cooking we do. Gas for the cars just in case.
Yeah. We
use Ego 56-volt battery-powered chainsaws, so we don't have to worry about that. But, we were...
Do you want to take 1 second to talk about our first sponsor before we move on to all the other things we learned?
Yeah.
Let's talk about 1 Year Food.
It's your amazing new book.
1 Year Food is available on Amazon. It's Kindle Unlimited, or you can get the PDF and print it yourself from our site, offgridprepfamily.com. Go to the store. And it's about half the price over there, but you gotta print it yourself. So
yeah, it's better to order it from Amazon.
Probably. It's $15.99 on Amazon. You probably can't print it for that.
No.
It gives you everything that you need to feed your large family or your mutual assistant group for 1 full year. It includes the shopping lists, how to store it, how to grow it if you're feeling super ambitious, and every recipe that you can serve for that 1 full year.
Yeah, it's a really great book. I've had a look at it too, and you've gotten just a ton of really positive feedback on it.
Yeah.
People are ordering it. It's a really exciting book. A lot of work you put into it over the years.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. We did gas and fuel, so that's the first thing that you should do if you know the storm's coming. It's not going to get cheaper, so you might as well get it.
And we've been through hurricanes here, so we had a bit of an idea what to expect.
Yeah.
We were not at all prepared for what happened.
No.
I mean, figuratively. Literally, we were prepared.
I felt like we might have been overreacting.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So the other thing that we did.
Yeah, so I talked about... So the storm came from the north, and with the...
It's because of the way that it spirals.
The way that...
The wind
that's right.
came
The
from
storm
the
came from the south, but the way it spiraled, it was coming from the north, which is uncommon for us. Usually they come from the south.
Yes.
So anyway, that was an uncommon characteristic of that particular hurricane. The weather called it pretty accurately. Like it really did down to the hour.
It was within a couple of hours. Yeah.
And so I decided our house is nestled into a south-facing hill with a forest behind us, well, all around us. Well, not anymore, but anyway. We have the most dense forest to the north because in the winter, the cold north wind in Canada is brutal. Yeah. So we have shelter from that, like really great shelter. Yeah. However, the trees around our house we built our house in an aspen grove. And the aspen trees are long and skinny. Yeah. So I went and I picked out a half a dozen aspen trees that I thought might fall on the house. Right. And I cut them down. Yeah. And the boys and I put the logs in a pile. We threw the brush in the brush, and that was it.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, you're being super diligent.
Well, we actually had a bit of a disagreement about that. You thought, no, don't do that. Don't wreck our trees. And, and the day before the storm, I was like, I'm going to cut a few down. Yeah. And so I did, and... when the storm had finished, there were 12 trees.
12 big ones, yeah.
That fell on our house. Yeah. So the ones I cut down definitely would have...
Like on our bedrooms.
Yeah. We have a shed roof that slopes to the north on the house, and it's a very large shed roof. And 6 of the trees had crisscrossed on our stainless chimney.
Of all the places to fall.
We have this chimney in the center of the roof.
On the chimney.
So it was like this spider web of trees that I had to climb. We all worked together. Even Grandma got involved, and that was great. And we all cleared brush, and I cleared the big stuff, and the boys moved the logs. Yeah. And I climbed on the roof. We were lucky. The trees... You tell them about the storm, what it was like at night.
It sounded like a train. Like, it sounded like a tornado.
It did.
And all night long, we could hear bang! And what it sounded like was one of those, like the 8-foot long logs that they sell for firewood. It sounded like those landing on the roof. And then kind of rolling back and forth with the wind. And you'd hear another one hit in a different part of the house. And then you'd have to hear it roll back and forth against the others. And it was all night long. And from about 1:30 a.m., we just didn't sleep. No. Finally, there's something about laying down in bed knowing that stuff could come through the ceiling onto you that you feel way more secure if you're sitting up.
Yeah, and watching TV.
Yeah, and like a little bit of distraction. So we put on some... prime TV real low.
2.5 Men.
We watched some 2.5 Men.
You gotta watch something that's
just totally mindless. Yeah. And the baby was dozing in and out, and the kids kept kind of waking up. At one point, we took all our kids, like we have a boys' room and a girls' room, so there's bunk beds. And so the kids who sleep on the top bunks, we took them off the bunks, and we either put them on the floor or we stuck them out on the couch so that they were just a little bit further away from the roof that the trees were crashing into. Yeah, it got a little intense. A little alarming. And of course, Grandma was here visiting, and so she came to stay here in the living room.
We asked her to 2 days before.
Yeah, we were like,
you better come stay here.
Because she was on the ocean.
She was.
And I don't know how that house is fared, but maybe we'll go take a drive out there next weekend and see. But that would have been scary by yourself on the ocean with the hurricane.
Well, to put it in perspective, there were several nights on her visit where she came the next day and she said, boy, it was windy last night. We were like, really? Like, we didn't even notice the wind, and yet at her house.
Yeah, so the weather at the ocean is really brutal.
Yeah, we asked her to come and stay.
So she ended up having to stay here for the last 3 days of her vacation, which isn't a very fun way to wrap out your vacation. But she didn't get swept out to sea.
Yeah.
No, so there's that. Now, we just want to keep the grandma safe.
Let's talk about why she was stuck here for 3 days. So first we had the hurricane and a dozen trees fall on the roof.
I still wanted to talk about prep. What's the other main thing that we do to prep?
Okay.
Now we are already prepped with food and the
off the grid
generators and all those things that you should have.
Yeah.
But for us to prep, the other main thing that we did for this was we took down the solar panels.
We did.
And I was, the whole time you were doing it, I was like, I don't know, this seems like a lot of work, and maybe we're being like a little bit too on edge about this.
They've been up there for 2.5 years.
Yeah, they made it through the last hurricane just fine.
Yeah.
They were
fine. And there were several tropical storms in between.
Yeah.
No problems at all. Very impressed with the
So
wood
it
rack.
took you 58 minutes to take down the panels with the help of our sons. And it was well worth it because there is no possible way those panels would still be on our roof with the winds that we had.
Because the wind came from the north?
Yeah.
It would have shattered the
They would have been like a sail.
It would have like peeled the roof up or something.
The way that the solar rack is, it might have peeled our steel roof off.
And it's, so being in Canada, my panels are year round at winter angles. So they're at like 85 degrees. They're almost straight up and down because we have really high humidity and bad ice here in eastern Canada. So the panels, if I don't have them straight up and down, they ice up and they snow up. And the snow, it takes forever to melt off.
Yeah.
So because they're up at 85 degrees, they are literally a sail on our otherwise relatively low-pitched roof.
Yeah.
And most of the time that works out. But this one instance, I think it's the first time we've really even had a north wind. I guess something worth mentioning.
Yeah.
And there's no way. They would have been
gone. And that's the one thing we don't have redundancy on.
No.
If you go back to our two is one, one is none episode, we don't have panels. We have mostly redundancy and everything that we can't easily get, but panels, it's just not feasible to have double panels.
Because you need all the panels. I could buy another 18 panels.
But if we had another 18 panels, frankly, I'd put them on the roof.
I
wouldn't keep them in the shed.
Because this is something that we don't often talk about, and it's a bit of a sideways here, but with solar panels, what you need to be concerned about is the low light. Right? So say I've got a 5,000 watt array on my house, which is what we have. But most of the time, I don't ever ask for more than 2,800 watts because I have to only put so much current through my batteries.
Okay.
But on cloudy days, instead of 300 watts, I have like 800 watts.
Right.
That's where the solar engineering comes into play. You have to pay attention to how much you get on those non-sun days.
Kind of worst case scenario days.
Yeah, because on the East Coast here, we could go weeks without sun.
Full sun, for sure.
Full sun.
Yeah.
But we'll have half sun and I'll get a charge and that'll get us through the next day.
Yeah.
And that's all the free energy right there. Anyway, so getting back to the preparing, what we also did is we took out a little more cash than we usually do.
Yeah.
Just in case. And it was good because the debit machines, of course, were down. Everything was down.
Yeah.
Stores were closed.
Yeah. I was surprised to see afterwards how many people didn't have cash on hand. Like our one folks we know, I think they took out $200 and they were surprised at how fast it went when you're buying gas for generators and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't last very long.
No, especially with gas being so expensive.
Yeah. So we did the fuel. Make sure you've got a generator in good condition. Ours are always serviced, but a lot of people were very surprised to find out that their generator cannot run what they thought it could.
No, not at all.
And so then you're hand milking dairy cows.
Yes.
And not just single dairy cows. Like many, many dairy cows. That's not a place where you want to be.
A standard generator, like a 3,000 to 5,000 watt generator, really can't run much in the way of major appliances, any kind of heating. Like you're going to be running one heavy appliance and all of your
probably
freezers.
Your fridge and your freezer.
Yeah, and that's about it.
And if you put it on one of those Christmas light things, maybe you can get away with a little more because you make sure they're not running at once.
Yeah, but that's a whole other thing.
But yeah, a Canadian Tire generator is not going to get you very far.
Yeah, I also, when we were in town the day we were getting cash and gas, I also went to the store and got an extra chain.
A chainsaw chain.
Right? Usually I don't start thinking about chainsaw chains till November.
Yeah.
Because I don't use it. But I was like, I'm going to get an extra chain. I have to get some propane anyway.
Yeah.
So I got an extra chain. And that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Having two working chainsaws.
Yeah. It was necessary.
Is there anything else that you prepared?
I made sure that I had like some bread baked and stuff, but if I had to do it again, I'm not a convenience food person. I am a ingredients person.
Well, we are. Yeah, it's our life.
So I only stock ingredients. I stock flour, salt, yeast, meat. Right? Yeah. If I need a vegetable, I'll go to the garden. But there are times when you are very busy, even if for me, we had power, we had running water, we had heat if we needed it.
Yep.
We had everything we needed. Life continued on as usual, but we had a lot of mess to clean up, and it would have been very nice to have just some like canned soup, like some junk that I don't normally eat, stored away somewhere. And I've really slacked off on the convenience food because I just don't want it in my house. But you know, some faster stuff, I think I'm going to stock that for the winter.
I think
and just put it in a bin and put it away so I don't have to see it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to offend me, but at least it's there.
Yeah, we have 2 boxes of those really nice ramen noodles.
Right.
The high quality ones that come with the oil and stuff.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, we haven't had them in months.
Yeah.
We haven't eaten any.
But you can only,
it's
that's
there
one meal.
just in case.
Yeah.
I'd love to say we could stock chips, but I know if they're there, I'm going to eat them.
Yeah, exactly. You have to know yourself.
I don't know.
There's something about where we live, too, that's what people do to prep. They don't get cash. They don't get fuel. No. They don't get anything. They get chips and beer.
And beer. Yeah.
And that's it. They're just going to eat chips and get drunk. That's their storm plan.
But I kind of wish I had been drunk during the hurricane. I mean, yes and no.
It would have helped.
It would have helped, unless there was something I had to run out and deal with.
Right,
which there wasn't.
That's probably not the best long-term plan, but it would have helped in some ways. Okay, we had to take a quick minute to talk about our sponsors. Let's say a quick thank you to EMP Shield. You can get $50 off any EMP Shield unit using our coupon code OGPF. It'll protect any device from EMP or a coronal mass ejection or lightning. Thrive Life, freeze-dried foods. You can get 15% off your first order if you use the link that's on our Friends and Affiliates page. That's offgridprepfamily.com/friends. They also have a sale on this month on a bunch of fall food, 25% off, so you can stack those.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you posted that the other day. I guess the last thing is Jason Medical.
Yes. They're emergency antibiotics for your emergency medical kit, or for when you're traveling and you might not be able to access them. You can get them prescribed and sent to your mailbox from anywhere in Canada and the USA. And if you use the link on our site, you get $15 off.
Nice.
Okay, so continuing,
we're talking about, I mean, there's so many things you can do to prepare. We were lucky, and I guess more
not
intuitive.
Lucky.
Well, not lucky.
We were prepared.
You're right. Sorry, I mean, we were lucky our house didn't blow away, but we built this thing out of serious concrete and timbers.
We built it well. Also, we weren't lucky that we still had power and running water and heat and cooking. We were prepared.
Yes.
And we put in the time, and we put in the money, and we put in the effort. And so by the next morning, we had some tree clearing to do, but life went on as normal.
It really did. Yeah.
And everyone else was scrambling. The food in their freezer is rotting.
Yeah.
They don't have water because they have no power. It never even occurred to them that the gas station wouldn't have gas.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Because gas stations need power to pump your gas.
Actually, the gas stations, they were running out of gas the day before the storm.
They were.
I went in to top up.
And if you live on an island, like, the truck has to come across the bridge.
Yes.
And if it's windy, they don't allow the big trucks across the bridge, and they shut the ferries down. So there's nothing coming. So you can't wait till the last day or even the last 2 days. You have to already have your stockpile. So there's that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't say it was luck, but yes, our house is here. We're all here. Everything's fine. We did have a lot of tree clearing.
Yeah, the dozen or so trees that fell on the roof. I haven't found any punctures into the steel.
Yeah.
Which is really awesome because some of those branches are pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about the actual tree clearing.
Yeah.
So the next day we cleared the trees around the house. The trees that were on the house, cut them into sections. That took the majority of the day.
Till like 1 or something.
And
then we put the panels up.
And then we put the panels back up. That was priority.
That took 2.5 hours?
It did. It was harder to put them up just because I don't know. It's easier to undo something than to do it properly.
To hook something up. Yeah, exactly. To lift the panels up is harder than to take them down.
Up the ladder.
And we were all running on a couple of hours sleep, and we'd already cleared trees for quite a few hours that morning.
We had. So it was a big day.
Yeah, and then we started on the driveway because Grandma had to get home.
She did. Her flight was...
It was scheduled for the next day.
It was. But of course...
Everything got canceled.
Everything got canceled.
Yeah.
And so I took... there's a couple of reels on our Instagram you can look at. I took a stroll down the driveway. And our driveway is 700 meters long. Mm-hmm. And on purpose, we want to be away from the main road because it's loud. And I was blown away. I never imagined the amount of giant trees crisscrossed along the driveway all the way down. It was phenomenal, really. And of course,
you stopped counting at 50.
I did, yeah. Well, but I went out during the hurricane because the hurricane started at night, but it continued all day.
Yeah, it wasn't over till 6 p.m.
Yeah.
But of course you went out because you just couldn't wait any longer.
No, I had to see what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was bad. So it took me and the boys, and you helped, and Grandma helped.
Grandma helped, yeah.
And we all, we just went at it with 2 chainsaws, and it took us 2 full days.
Yeah.
And the trees, we've got a whole winter, possibly 2 winters worth of firewood there, just on what I cleared off the driveway.
But now, when the winter sort of comes and the leaves fall and before the snow falls, we'll start cleaning our actual forest.
Yeah.
And we'll have 20 years worth of firewood from what fell. We'll have to sell it, except everyone else on the island's also going to have 20 years worth of firewood.
Maybe. So... I don't know.
It's a mess.
It is. It's a huge
It's a mess.
It's ridiculous.
But with the bugs and the ticks and everything, it's better just to wait.
No, yeah. We have to wait till the leaves die. And so we cleared the driveway and we got to the end of the driveway.
Oh, right.
And we get close to the end and we hear this weird sound. I couldn't place what the sound was. I thought it was bees. Oh. Sporadically buzzing around because you get those bees in those cherry trees.
Yeah, and after the storm, the bugs were crazy. There was tons of wasps and angry bugs and horseflies and
all
stuff.
Their homes were disrupted.
Yeah,
and I get closer and I realize this is a power line.
Right.
At the end of the driveway, and I go into the field next door and I walk around and I can't quite see what it is. And so I text you and I say we might not be able to get out of here. There might be a power line flicking around.
Of being off grid and being stuck in your house
trapped
due to somebody else's power line being down in front of your driveway did not escape me.
And I mean,
that made me kind of actually angry. I'm paying for everything.
Because most of our power comes from coal.
Yeah.
Where we are. And so basically the quote grid is just a giant generator.
Yeah.
With extension cords going to everyone's homes.
Coal-powered generator, and everyone around here just has the luxury of not having to listen to it.
I wouldn't say it's luxury. Have you seen some of those bills?
Yeah. Okay, it's not quite
anyway,
luxury.
So we get to the end of the driveway, and I eventually looked at it a few different times, and we went back and we talked, and we came out after lunch, and we came back the second day.
Tried to get through to the power company over and over.
Not a chance.
Email, voicemails, everybody and their dogs emailing the power company.
Yeah. So the second day we went down and we were getting closer, and I creeped forward a little bit, and there's this technique. Actually, this is a really helpful technique that not a lot of people know. So you can drive in a car with a down power line.
Right. Because
your tires are rubber with air.
So if you hit the power line, it's fine.
It's totally fine.
If you run over the power line, it's fine?
It might pop your tires.
Okay.
I'm talking about just your insulation from the ground.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't want to hit the power line or whatever, but if the power line's touching the ground, it sends out waves of power that dissipate. So what happens if you think of dropping a pond? But it's doing this over and over again, okay? And the waves dissipate the further they get, which means the voltage goes lower. But the closer you get to the power line, the higher the voltage is. And what you do is if you want to walk close to a power line, not that you want to, but if you have to walk or get out of your car, you 2-foot it. You hop like a bunny.
Okay.
Because if you take a step,
like a bird on the power line.
Your foot closest to the power line will be at a higher voltage potential than the foot further away, creating an imbalance of voltage and an electrical shock to balance that voltage. Right. So I bunny hopped the last 20 yards until I could see. I did. Because I remember this from my training.
I want it to be known that it was not because you wanted your mother-in-law out of the house. It was because she was anxious to get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care. She'd been there 3 days. We'd all adjusted.
No, it's great. It's very helpful to have her around.
We live in such a way, existentially, that I don't care when there's no such thing as an emergency.
No, but she was eager to get home. We wanted to know if... Yeah.
So anyway, I bunny hop, and eventually I see that it's actually just the tiny tips of a white birch tree, just ever so gently grazing the line.
Tickling the line.
So there is some potential danger there, but almost none, because if there were something that could harm me, it would have to go through that whole tree.
Yeah.
And continuously, and so
So the tree wasn't across the driveway.
No, it was actually
beside the driveway.
It was like 30 feet to the east of our driveway.
Great.
So it was a long way away. And there's a lot of science behind high voltage and how it works. But at the end of the day, it was safe, ish. Safe enough for me to say, you know what, we can do this. So we got the last few trees. And what I did with the last few trees, instead of, I had the boys stand back, and I backed the car up to the last few trees, and I chained on, and I pulled the trees, because they had already fallen, so I cut them.
Right.
Where they had snapped off, and I pulled them away.
You pulled them away from the power line.
So that we could do the branches and the proper cutting of the trees.
Okay.
Well out of harm's way.
Yeah.
And so then I knew that everything was fine, that we could, Grandma could finally get home, as she was very anxious to do so.
Yeah.
And, it was an experience.
Yeah.
What else?
What else do I have to say about things that you should think about? There were some people who were getting into trouble with some carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah, did anybody die here from that?
Because they're running generators
indoors. Inside the house.
So I don't know how to... I'm assuming none of these people listen to our podcast, but...
no, nobody here does.
Don't run your generator indoors?
Even close to your house.
Not even in your garage with your door cracked. Not even in your barn with the door open.
No.
That's all super dumb.
It's super dumb.
And if it doesn't make you sick and kill you today, the carbon monoxide builds up in your bloodstream, and then eventually you start getting headaches and nauseous, and all sorts of weird things start happening to you because you're slowly poisoning yourself.
You are. Yeah. Yep.
So that's sketchy.
It is.
Okay. Refusing to evacuate and then putting first responders at risk. We have talked about this.
We have, yeah. That's a really
pick a lane.
Douchey move.
Either commit one way and handle your own stuff, or commit the other way and just go to the Red Cross tent.
Yeah. And just, do anything. Like, have a bin of food in your pantry.
Yeah.
Anything. Just anything to prepare.
It doesn't take a lot.
Well, what it does is it puts you more consciously in charge of yourself and your situation.
Yeah.
And really, our society is designed to promote the opposite at all times.
I was shocked at how desperate people were to get to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, do people seriously not have 3, 4, 5 days worth of food?
No, they really don't. They really don't.
Yeah. Okay. People out on the roads.
Yep.
This drives me crazy. They're trying to clean up the power lines. It's still dangerous. The winds are still crazy. There's trees everywhere. People are trying to, work.
Yep.
And other people, this is the first thing they want to do is just get out and rubberneck at everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
just going out.
That's dangerous.
The schools are closed. The businesses are closed. Why are you on the roads? If you don't need to be somewhere, there's no need to get out and just looky-loo around.
Yeah.
Having no supplies.
Yeah, you gotta have enough supplies.
We've heard of many people that literally they were locked in their house, trees on their house, can't get out, no food.
That ties into the whole COVID thing, right?
Yeah.
Because they're gonna do more lockdowns.
Yeah, they're gonna find something to lock you down for. Just have a few weeks worth of food in your house.
Yeah.
Even if it's not exciting food, even if it's just canned soup and junk you wouldn't normally eat. It's pretty easy to do, and it doesn't cost a whole lot, even now with inflation.
And I think,
and it keeps you from doing desperate things.
It does. And that's really what it's all about, is just being prepared.
Yeah. You don't have to, build a bunker.
Yeah. So I think that's enough for us for tonight because I can hear the kids.
Yes.
And
thanks for listening. We're glad to be back.
Yeah.
We have 2 more episodes coming up this week, we hope. And it's October for us, so we're busy, and we know you are too. But we hope to see you soon. If you thought this was helpful, if you could share it with a friend or share it with social media, we can always tell when you guys do, and we really appreciate it.
We do, yes.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.